Alright, so if you recall, last class we had you spread out around the room and we were talking about the various elements of every man, and we picked some sort of proxy everymans, every women's, every folks, and then we had some guides, and we had you, had a few of you catalog your day, just a few hours of your day from the time you got up until class, and categorize the things you did according to the categories that were established by the characters, the abstractions. What's an abstraction? Go.
Characters that are not real people, but take on human form.
Nice done. Excellent. Yes, yes, yes. These characters represent qualities, traits, ideas. Remember, in the medieval period, they're not expected or intended to be well-rounded, realistic personalities the way you might expect in a more in a play from a later era. They were to represent ideas. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean they couldn't have personalities. Certainly, I once saw. I'm going to tell you a story. So I was so in the theater when I read my dissertation. I was in England doing some research, and I was in England. The first 30 days in England, I said, I'm going to see 30 plays in 30 days. And I went to a play every single day. Now, if you're in London, you can do that. You can't do that in Scotland. It's a different one. But Monday nights are hard. Anybody know why? Yeah. England, traditionally, Monday is your dark night. So traditionally, the big major theaters, the West End, were usually shut down. And then some of the fringe theaters might be open, but Monday night was tough. So there was a Monday, and I had done, I think, 21 straight days, and my roommate was like, you're not going to make it, nothing. I will find a play. And the only thing I could find, I'm scouring the little, this is free internet. There was a little internet. It wasn't like, what was this, 1996? You didn't have any hotel room. You had to go to the internet cafe. Back in the day, right? So you couldn't just hop online and say what's funny. So there was this magazine called Time Out. They still printed. It had all this stuff. And I found every man in a parking garage. So you just walked up to this parking garage, and this guy did, it was like a pound, which was like back then about $2. And there was just a dude standing at the ramp, and he was like, "You here for every man?" And the British accent, which I can't do. I said, "Yeah." Third deck. You walk up the third deck, and they're doing the play, just standing. So anyway, the reason I tell you that story is to tell you that you can imbue these medieval characters with personality, but how might you do it? If you stick with the script, which of course you want. What do you have to do? Actors. How would you give these people don't have inbred, they don't have personalities built into the script? What would you do? Exhaustive, right? What else? Yeah. All right, yeah. How would you personify them differently? Okay. Accent. What else could you do? How do you actors be all over this? Physicality. Good. Yes. Yes. Right. Anything else? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, and this was like a fringe, semi-professional group. I mean, in a garage in that theater. But they were all like equivalent of MFA students on break. Just they had a little like collective living in my apartment and plays on and some usual places. It's very kind of what you do when you write. But anyway, but the idea is you could take these and give them personality through performance, through production, right? And that's the difference between drama and
theater.
Right. You could give five wits a personality. You could make beauty act in a vain way if you wanted to. You could make goods act like a rich, entitled person. You could give goods a costume that suggested wealth. You could do all kinds of things with that. Fellowship. You know, I don't even know how I would do fellowship. Someone tell me how they would cast fellowship. Bubbly. Good. Yes. Yeah. I was thinking John Belushi might make fellowship. No, he didn't know. Get on. Or maybe, What, even if I said Chris Farley, that was gonna be too old.
No, I
No,
don't.
Chris Farley died like 10 years ago, right? You were babies.
I was.
Anyway, all right. I always picture fellowship as a big, heavy-duty Jack Black will work, right? I don't know why. Fellowship to me is like a rotund, beer in each hand. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm not advocating beers in each hand or this. Okay. To wrap up our discussion, I did want to point out to you that there is a structure here that might not have been apparent from our activity that I want to at least pull together. And that is that the abstractions in every man do have varying relationships to the final outcome, which would be salvation. Which of the characters is most helpful on the way to salvation? Leaving aside the angel, like the abstract characters. Yeah, good works, good deeds, right? That's the only character that at least gets to go with every man past this sort of point of life, right? What characters are somewhat helpful?
Strength, knowledge.
Yes. Why is knowledge over here? Why is knowledge somewhat helpful?
You led them to salvation, or where you need to go.
Right. If you have knowledge, maybe you think carefully about what you hear in church. Maybe you even, if you're an educated person, study theology, or if you're a particularly educated person, maybe you might even be able to understand what's going on in the church. Strength? How's that help? Yeah. And remember, this is medieval. People are dying left and right, plagues, all kinds of stuff. Just to be able to physically perform a good deed means that strength is some help. Discretion? How's that help? All right, yeah, you got it. Good. All right, so those are good. Down here I have a little box, kindred and fellowship. Kindred maybe could be helpful if your family was somehow pointing you by sort of family values in a direction toward good deeds, but nothing in the play says that the kindred and fellowship are going to do a lot for you. We covered fellowship pretty thoroughly. I put over here goods we talked about, but I want to leave beauty over here. How much does beauty talk in the play, you know? Why does beauty only have 4 lines? Yeah. Beauty is not just unhelpful for salvation, but potentially a harmful thing if beauty leads to vanity, right? So notice how, if you look back at the play, beauty, depending on how you cast, might be a particularly physically interesting choice, but in terms of a part, it's a very small part, and of course the playwright is trying to say something about beauty's relevance to salvation is so minor and frankly not useful at all. So beauty makes a very brief appearance, and unlike the other characters, beauty doesn't even protest. You know, some of the characters come in and say, "I'm going to stick with you," and then no, never mind. Beauty is barely in the play. Okay. So all these things kind of come together. 5 wits, your senses, sight, hearing, sound, smell. They could go either way. If your senses lead you toward good works, they would be positive, but how could your senses be negative in the final opinion? How can your eyes betray you?
You could see things that are not familiar.
Okay. Well, yeah, it would affect you. Or
Oh, wait, well.
how could your actual,
I don't
yeah,
understand this question.
how could your eyes betray you in your mission for salvation?
You could see goods again, go towards that.
Right. If your 5 wits, your physical ability to apprehend and converse, touch, vision, hearing, smell, right? Those actual senses, what we would call, lead you to beauty in a negative way, right? Anybody know that biblical passage? When are you supposed to pluck your eye out? No, you got, yeah, that's a different one. You're close, right? Yeah, that's the one, remove the beam from your own eye. Right? Okay. No, when are you supposed to pluck your eye out?
You're not supposed to do this in
When?
If your eye causes you to sin,
Yes.
you pluck it out.
If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. How could your eye cause you to sin, even if you don't do anything? According to traditional Christian teachings, which these people would have understood, coveting, right? What's going on? Yes?
It could lead to lust.
Yes, very good. Yes. If you're 5 wits, your eye, so I don't look at anybody and then violate like all kinds of teaching rules. So up here. I look at the student. So much paperwork. My eye see an attractive woman. I'm picturing my lovely wife.
Aww.
Watch, that doesn't work because that would not lead me the wrong way. I'm picturing my lovely wife's lovely sister. 5 wits, one of my wits sees this attractive person, not my wife. Very good. My mind goes to a lustful spot. Instead of getting here, I end up in the bad place, right? So that's how 5 wits fits in. So some of these can help you. Some of these could be helpful, but could be harmful. And some of these are pretty much harmful, right? And that's how the system's set up. All right. Any questions on every man? All right. Now, we want to.
It can be a good thing.
What?
It can be a good thing. Like if you look at the sunrise and you think of God as creator and
True.
creating all that beautiful stuff and
Very good.
believing in more.
Very good. Yes. The danger of beauty is vanity is a problem, but there is a beauty that is good. How interesting. Very good. Say that louder and again. I don't think the back row heard you. They were all hanging out.
Beauty can be good if someone admires sunrise, thinking of God's creation.
Yes. Very good. Wow. I wasn't going to go there. All right. Ever seen medieval cathedral? Picture of it? Why are these things full of stained glass and statuary and symmetry and steeples and incredible visual impact?
It's a green glory.
Right. Very good. So this point should not be left behind. Gross physical beauty that triggers envy or lust, potentially negative. The word, you know what word you were actually thinking around? Who said that? When I say gross, I don't mean, you know what I mean by gross? Physical, right? Not, that's gross, but gross in the sense
That's
of
a lot of
the physical world, the mundane world, the world of this era, this place, right? So gross beauty, yeah, secular. Gross beauty is looking at a person that you're attracted to and your thoughts going to carnal things, okay? Sublime beauty is exactly what you're talking about. When you see something so beautiful that you think about the divine. And for the medievals, you know, you think about the medieval era and you say, why in the world were these people who were poor, who had no power tools? Remember, these cathedrals took hundreds of years to build. But some poor sucker had to cut each particular rock, and they had to haul them up with ropes and primitive pulleys, and you know, people died building these cathedrals. And whole generations of families built these cathedrals. Like the grandson would still be working on the same cathedral that the grandfather started working on, 8 years earlier. Why in medieval Europe would they spend all this energy on these cathedrals? For beauty, a certain kind of beauty, a sublime beauty. How could sublime beauty actually get you closer to salvation? Sunrise? What the sunrise makes you think of? God, right? In medieval aesthetics, it's important to know that there was a kind of spiritual beauty of which God was the perfect manifestation. So therefore, there were things on earth that were beautiful, and if it was the kind of beauty that reminded you of divinity, then that could be positive, right? Thus, churches were supposed to be beautiful. Beautiful colors, beautiful architecture, right? Beautiful crosses of gold, right? If you look at some of these medieval churches, you'd see that a lot of time would be spent on ornamentation. Beautiful things to make you think divine. I'm so glad you know